I want to talk about fat asses. We all as men and women have this thing that we believe is our value that attracts people to us. And subconsciously, when we are in spaces where we want to be accepted or we fear being rejected, we flaunt this fat ass, AKA the value or the thing that we believe is our value based on experiences that we had growing up. We show up with this safe version of ourselves, but the reality is to be able to last in long-term relationships and long-term friendships, or to be in careers in a work environment that you truly love, you have to be the real, raw, uncut version of yourself.
Ask Kadi, the voice of reason.
I want to talk about fat asses. I know the guys, y'all really gonna like this episode, okay? Before I get into what I mean by fat asses, I want to, I'm gonna share with you guys a story. Growing up, I'm thinking as young as like 9, this was 4th grade, there was this, I would have friends, right? Female, young girlfriends who naturally had big butts, right? And oddly enough, now that I'm an adult looking back, big butts was a thing, even at that young age. Like the boys liked the girls who had the big butts or whatever. And these friends, we will be playing or hanging out or whatever. And whenever guys would come around, instantly there would be a shift. It would go from you just being a cool, fun, chill girl to now boys is around, I gotta act a certain way. I gotta walk a certain way. I gotta, flaunt my features in a certain way. And honestly, it used to be so interesting to watch because naturally these would be the type of girls other girls won't like. Oh, she thinks she's all that. She thinks she always wants the boys around her. But for me, it's like, yo, I would see you act this one way, which I believe to be your authentic self. And then when you are around guys, you act differently. So this is how I came up with this analogy about fat asses, because I believe we all have fat asses. Not literally, I know I don't have one, but I believe we all as men and women have this thing that we believe is our value that attracts people to us. And subconsciously, when we are in spaces where we want to be accepted or we fear being rejected, we flaunt this fat ass, AKA the value or the thing that we believe is our value based on experiences that we had growing up or experiences that we had, just from people getting attention. Like I would say for me, I grew up in a family that didn't really give verbal validation. I didn't grow up in a family who tell you I love you every day or tell you you're great. The idea of just like, I put a roof over your head should be enough to know that you're loved. But I remember being praised for like, my mom, I mentioned this a lot of times, I have 3 sisters. Well, my mom and dad, we share the same mom and dad. I have 3 siblings that share the same mom and dad. And me being the middle child and my mom having kids back to back, so we were all toddlers at the same time, we were all teenagers at the same time, she always highlighted how I was more independent. She's like, oh my God, Kadi, I don't gotta stop and do anything for her. Or Kadi, she can walk to school by herself. Or Kadi, when she's in school, she's the one to get all the good grades versus my sisters who gave, the teachers a hard time. So that became my fat ass. That became the thing that I know, if all fails, I can use my independence, my ability to be a problem solver, my ability to serve others as a means of being accepted. But what happens is when we do that is we end up in spaces where, and not just spaces, but in relationships where we're not being our authentic self, right? Granted, the thing that is your fat ass is not that it's a thing that's a lie about you. These girls weren't faking, you know what I'm saying? They knew that they had the body that these guys will possibly be attracted to. So it's not something that they were faking or like, putting up a front about. However, it's not the thing that they needed to, it's not the thing that made them most proud of themselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when I would watch these kids, well, I was a kid myself, but I watched these girls change their personality, their behavior, and flaunt the thing that they think is gonna make the people around us accept them. And I'm just like, girl, you flaunting your butt. Do he know you can play 3 instruments? Like, that is the cool thing about you or whatever. And I think back now, thinking of that, it makes me think like how often we like suppress some of the greatest parts of ourselves because we weren't validated by it growing up. we were, and the validation, not us not being validated by it wasn't intentional. It's like, people are gonna naturally say the things that come to mind. Like, oh, my mom, she was a mother of three toddlers. Of course, I would hear her say over and over again when I did something that made her life a little easier. It's not that she didn't love the other parts of me that I like to value about myself. But it's like, if I come home from a 12-hour shift and I got one kid over here crying because she wants something to eat, and then another kid here messing up the room, of course I'm gonna acknowledge the fact that you're the kid Indian style in the corner, not causing a fuss, right? So because as a kid I'm hearing that, what I interpret that is, oh, this is the most important thing about me. This is what people love about me. And then we walk into relationships, situations, jobs, and carry that energy. Like, I don't know if this person gonna like that I know how to play 3 instruments, but I do know for a fact that I got a fat butt and they gonna like that. And I'm gonna lead with that. But what happens is it doesn't sustain us in those places, either with those people, because I feel like being your authentic self is the only thing that gets you in the environments that you belong in. But at the same time, it makes sure you are at peace. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes those situations or those relationships, you're not able to sustain them because you kind of entered them with this, what I like to call the safe version of you. Not the fake. It's not that you're being fake. It's that the safe is like when I'm in a place where I'm trying to be accepted and I want to make sure I'm not the oddball out, I'm going to run with the version of myself that I know serves everyone. You know what I'm saying? Or I know that it's gonna attract them to me or whatever like that. So we show up with this safe version of ourselves, but the reality is, to be able to last in long-term relationships and long-term friendships, or to be in careers in a work environment that you truly love, you have to be the real, raw, uncut version of yourself. And in that person is the thing that you value, not just what other people value or what serves you. So before I even get into the list of things of how we make sure that we are showing up as our authentic self and not using our fat ass to get us in these spaces that we want to be in, I thought, when I was meditating on this, I thought about recently one of my childhood best friends, my first guy best friend. He reached out to me and he was like, hey, I'm getting married. I want you to come to the wedding, blah, blah, blah. And in this age, I'm always like really meditating on the fact, like the friendships that I have and why it lasts so long. So although me and him do not talk every day, we actually have not talked in years. But the fact, when we got back together and we was texting, he was telling me about his wedding, it gave the first day I met you in freaking 7th grade or 8th grade or whatever. So I was kind of like meditating on what made, like, I have friends that we fell out and I don't talk to anymore. But then I have this person where it's like, it's been over a decade and I'm about to be at your wedding. This is crazy. And it made me think back on a moment that I had with him. The way we became friends is I knew him in elementary school. I went to a small elementary school, small middle school, small high school. So everyone knew each other and everyone was essentially friends. You have people you have beef with, but we all knew each other, so everyone's your friend. So he was always someone I knew and I would communicate with, but how we got closer was I found out that this girl in the school liked him. Well, one of the girls in our grade liked him. And I brought it to his attention. He's like, I don't like her. And I'm like, you need to be with her. Like, I was like a class clown in middle school and high school and just like the real, I guess I would say, annoying, funny person or whatever like that. So I'm like, yeah, you need to be with her. You're chasing these wrong girls or whatever. And it just became this running joke me and him would have all the time. Eventually, it ended us getting closer. And with him hanging around me more, he would see people come up to me all day. Like, it was this girl, this specific moment that I remember. This girl that was in the same grade as us came up to me and she was like, oh, girl, I got to tell you about your friend. Now, this girl, she was my friend as far as we're not enemies, but she wasn't my dog. Like, I don't talk to you after school. I don't hang out with you, but I became the person that she would come to like talk to me about her crush with. And that has been the theme about my life. Like, I will be the person that everyone comes and talk to, but a lot of people don't ask me what's going on in my life. Ask me what do I care about or whatever. So he paid attention. She came out. I was like, oh, she was like, I got to tell you, blah, blah, blah. And then she walked off. She was like, I'll talk to you later. He was like, bruh, he looked at me like, I wish y'all knew this person because he's so funny. He talks like this. He's like, bruh, tell them to leave you the F alone. He's like, yo, why do everyone keep coming up to you like, bugging you? What, don't you get sad? Like, don't you have other stuff going on in your life? And he was like the first I don't want to say the first person to discredit people I've met throughout my life, but it was the first time I remembered someone having an interest in me as a friend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not because, oh, we became cool because I talked to you and you gave good advice. Now I want to be around you all the time so you can give me good advice. Or you're smart at this, or you're good at this, or I don't like that person, but I like you, so I'm going to hang around you. For the first time, someone seemed so interested in me, right? So he's like, what is your home life like? What is it like? I want to know you. No one knows. Like, everyone knew me, but no one knew me. Like, I had best friends who never been to my house. I remember somebody, it took years into our friendship when there was like, you always talk about your dad. Where's your mom? Like, as I talked about it a lot here, my mom was deported when I was 9. So throughout my life, not that I kept it a secret. As a kid, you don't want to be different. You don't want to be the oddball out, right? And we don't know what the home like is like for other people. I just knew for mine, it was different. I was growing up with a single dad. My parents are immigrants. So I wouldn't lead with that. That's where we go back to not wanting to lead with our authentic selves, right? So I would like suppress my culture. I would suppress what's going on at home. And I had a friend who said to me, like, where's your mom? You always telling us funny stories about your dad. Where's your mom? And that was years into the friendship. So it was so interesting to me that once me and him got cool, that's the first thing he asked. And he was like, yo, I'm tired of like people always coming up to you to bother. And you don't even care about this stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I say that to say, or I say that to intro us into the ways that I have grown to learn how to make sure I am showing up as my authentic self and not leading with my fat ass that I don't really have, but you know what I mean. All right, so the first thing is, which I mentioned earlier, is getting rid of your safe personality and showing up as the version of yourself without the fear of being rejected. So I talked about it a little bit earlier, but just to go into it, like this version of ourselves that we become as an armor to protect us in the world, right? Rejection is not, I know a lot of people like to praise, I'm confident, I don't care what people think. It's a lie. That's not in the human nature. Granted, being confident is something we fight to be every day. Is moments. It's moments where we're confident. But being confident in life is not something I feel like as humans we naturally like gravitate to, because it can often be unsafe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why would I walk in here and think I'm the baddest bee? What if he thinks I'm ugly? What if she's like, your track is shown? Like the fear of being perceived is natural because the human instinct in us is just like, I don't want to be the oddball out. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? So that safe version of ourselves that we develop and walk through in life is oftentimes what stops us from, being authentically ourselves. So knowing when to get rid of that and being intentional. Like, for example, I have somebody, I'm not gonna point no elbows, who's going on a date today. And it makes me think of like, when we are dating, that's the first thing we do. We show up as our safe person, not realizing I'm dating because I want to marry this person eventually. I'm dating because I want to introduce this person to my family. I'm dating because I want this person to be able to see me in my raw form. So what does showing up as your safe self do? Besides present a version of yourself that you will end up not knowing if this person is a true connection for you or not. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody, the point of the safe version of you is, it's the version of you that you know will get along with everyone. It's the one that like, okay, I know this version of me doesn't ruffle any feathers, or this version of me, I know people like, you know what I'm saying? And the idea of real relationship is not that the person likes you all the time for everything that you do. That's not what compatibility is. That's not what love is. Is that person love you in spite of. So the faster that you can present the authentic version of you, I joke about this all the time. Like, I remember when I was in high school, I was talking to this boy, and the most romantic thing that I felt was the most romantic thing he had said to me was, "Oh my God, you're so stupid." And I was like, oh my God, okay. I feel so sick. Because, growing up, always hearing, oh, you're so smart. Oh, you know this, you know that. It will naturally make my armor come up. Okay, I did something good for this person. That means I have to sustain this perfection. in order to keep this person. So when someone naturally notices my flaws, granted, whatever we was talking about, it's not that he was saying I was stupid in general, but I was saying something and I really didn't know what the heck I was talking about. He was like, you were so stupid. And I'm like, oh, they see me. They see the real me, that I'm flawed in this way. And it instantly made me feel like, okay, I can put my armor down. Like, you know what I'm saying? When I was like really kind of comparing how I feel with certain friendships versus others, I was like, that's the thing. Those people who see me, not as the person who serves them, not as a person that brings some type of incentive or balance to their life, but also just me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So getting rid of that safe version of yourself, especially when you are looking to make decisions that needs you to be your authentic self, where you're working, you know what I'm saying? Your career path, the person you're dating, friendships. We need friendships. So you need to make sure you can show up as your authentic self, because I attribute a lot of my growth, a lot of my healing with real life stuff I went through, like losing my father and stuff. Friendships, got me through that. So I need to make sure that these people are locked in with the real me and not the fat ass me, right? So number 2, I would say prioritize the fact that you're allowing others into your world over them allowing you in theirs. This kind of really applies with like job interviews. It took a long time for me to get to the point that when I'm going to the job interview, they need me. I used to go into job interviews like, Lord, let me see how I need to kiss this ass, because I need this job. I got bills, I got this, I got that. So I'm like practicing questions. I'm practicing answers, like, trying to think about whatever they're gonna ask me. I'm trying to make sure I got my best face forward. Of course, I'm coming in my Sunday's best. And then a lot of these jobs that I did all of that for got in a few months later, and I'm like, not just I don't like these people, I don't like this place, but it doesn't speak to who I am as a person. They're not valuing what I bring to the table. They're not seeing it. You know what I'm saying? So that is the mindset we got to get into in every aspect, where it's like they need you. Like when you're making a friend, it's not just, oh, I'm trying to make a friend so they could be with me. It's also because they want you a part of their life. If you want to kiki with me, that means you want me a part of your life. If I'm going on a date, it's not that I'm just looking for a partner. They're here because they're looking for a partner too. So it's like, you gotta like appeal to me too. So I need to show up as my authentic self so that I can see like, okay, if I say, just to bring the example, someone's telling me like, okay, on this date, I'm gonna tell them that I have a kid. I need to see how you respond. I need to see if you really care for that. There's a lot of people, believe it or not, will hide the fact that they have a kid for a long period of time because they view that as the thing that is unsafe. It's not even, it's wild, but it might not be because they don't love their kids, but you're telling yourself this is the thing that's gonna make people not accept me. I know I have a friend now, she's like, I don't like to date because I don't feel like telling them I got a kid. Or I don't feel like telling them I got this issue with my baby daddy or my baby mom. And it's like, but it's the authentic you, is what you're going through. So it's like, you need, not that you need them, but the point of you looking for those people in your life, this job, is that they fit into your world. So you need to show up as your authentic self to get to understand, to know if that is the case or not. The third one, you need to make sure that these people are fitting into your world and not just that you're auditioning for theirs. Ooh, look at that. Told me to say it again and it came together. The third thing I would say, live your passions publicly. And I can't say this enough. Stop tying your passion to a career title. I'm talking about the things that make you glow and you don't even realize it. There was this long part of my life where I would not talk about the importance of spirituality in my life, the importance of God. Like, not that I was high in God, don't strike me, but it was like something I wouldn't share if I'm talking to a friend, because my mindset's like, oh, what if they think I'm doing too much? Or what if they think I'm trying to come off like super preachy? So my spiritual side, I will be hesitant. Like, somebody would have to present it to me first, and then I'm like, okay, it's safe. Yes, girl, and I think like this and da-da-da-da, or whatever. But once again, that led me to being in places that didn't speak to my authentic self. And like, a funny thing is, a friend texted me yesterday asking like if we could do an event together. And she was like, just to let you know, You can say no and decline because I know so many people come to you for so many things, right? And I'm like, girl, why do you always say that to me? This is the type of stuff I like. I like to sit with my friends and talk about events and creation and different things like that. I was like, I just ignore people when they be talking about stuff I don't care to talk about. But the unfortunate part for me is I do end up in a lot of situations, relationships where I'm forced to be like, I'm forced to like really focus on what they're like. The relationship is based on what they like and not what I like because I've suppressed so much of the things that I am passionate about. So live your passions publicly. If you like frogs, bring it up every chance you get. Them folks that look at you weird when you tell them, oh, I like to pick frogs on my free time, you will know those are not your people. And that's okay, right? But bring up all the things that you are passionate about as early as you can in situations so you can, narrow out the people that shouldn't be in your life. Fourth thing I would say, and the final, making sure your gifts isn't the only reason your relationships is thriving. We all have gifts. We all have things that I like to believe God put us on this earth with a tool that helps us service the world, right? But when we talk about the intimate relationships we're trying to create, when we're talking about our inner world that we need to create to help us get through life in general, it shouldn't feel like that work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a problem for me to give a homeless person money on the street because that's my heart. That's my gift. That's the blessing God gave me. But do I want to be in the house with someone who needs $1 every second? Well, my daughter, she's a person, and I'm gonna tell you it's not fun. Girl always wants money. It's not fun. But that's what I'm saying. Like, the thing that we use, the gift, our gift that we use to service the world should not be the reason somebody is now wanting to be in your life, or the thing that we prostitute to get people. You know what I'm saying? That's not. We're looking for people to be our safe haven. Why would I, if I got $1,000,000, why would I be flaunting, oh, you want to be my friend? I got $1,000,000. You want to date me? I got $1,000,000. Like, our gifts and our blessings and our whatever you want to call it should not be the reason and should not be the thing that we prostitute to convince people to be in our lives. So that is a big one because I know it's something that we do subconsciously and we have to catch ourselves. I was talking to my friend yesterday and she was telling me something. She was like, yeah, so I was giving him advice. Someone she was dating, she was like, he said something that made me feel so bad and I was giving him advice, but it was in the midst of them having a disagreement. And I was like, girl, you need to send him an invoice because she has a business where she helps service people and like give advice, give marketing advice, give uplifting advice. And I was like, girl, if he want that version of you, give him an invoice and put him as a client. But as your man, it's about you and where you're hurting. It's not about where he's hurting. You know what I'm saying? This is your situation that he has to like, be apologetic to you about, not bring up his grievances. That's what we have therapists for, right? Not saying that you shouldn't be of support to people in your life, but in moments where you need people and the relationships that we create, our friendships, our family, our friends, even our work, they are to support us. So I'm the star of this show. It's not about you. So with us prostituting our gifts, it ends up being about the other people because they're here for whatever you service or whatever your gift provides in their world. So before I even get into, I want to kind of bring that together before I get into my favorite segment, Ask Kadi. I really just hope this really kind of gets to everyone, both men and women, because so much of our world, so much of our life is based on, so much of our perspective of ourselves is based on what other people have told us. And although it may not have been a lie, you know what I'm saying? It is something that is true about you doesn't necessarily mean it's the authentic you. The authentic us is what we decide within ourselves first, right? You know what I'm saying? And then we go and present it to the world and say, here, this is what I'm looking for. You down or not? You know what I'm saying? Or this is the version of me that I am. You trying to be down with me or not? You know what I'm saying? Instead of leading with that, just what we think is going to be easily accepted by others. We don't want to be easily accepted by others. We want to be accepted by those who accept us. So yeah, let me get into my favorite parts. I love that you guys have been submitted. A lot of y'all been submitting y'all questions anonymously, which I get it, but this one is kind of pretty much a long one. Let me pull it up really quick. I have it in my phone. Okay, this is long. Why do we allow ourselves to give grace in romantic relationships over platonic relationships? I feel like it happens more with women than with men. For example, a guy can cheat on us, have a baby on us, physically, mentally, and emotionally abuse us, and we still stay no matter what. However, a friend, maybe even the best friend who has been there for you through everything, can't come to your birthday party and you cut them off. I'm gonna stop right there. This pretty much sums it up. So why are we give more chances to our romantic relationships over our main relationships? Why do people do that? I don't know. Because I can say I know for a fact I don't do that because I cut everybody off. Okay, the platonic, the romance, don't get on my nerves. Okay, and don't piss me off to the point where I feel like I can't trust you, because then I will cut you off. However, I feel like the question is not really why do people do that, but what is it telling you about that person, and taking that seriously. If we all have a value system, whether we're intentional about it or not, every day of our life is constant choices. And if somebody lists all the things that you love, I love my family, I love my job, I love this, I love that, I like to go out. When they tell you you have to pick one, it's gonna show you where your values lie. And for a lot of people, I understand how a romantic relationship can be of more value than a platonic one, because unfortunately, as humans, we often use romantic relationships as a means of healing our broken selves. So it's less about them valuing their boyfriend or girlfriend over you. It's the fact that they're valuing, which healing is something we have to do. You will go through life uncomfortable if you don't tackle the parts of yourself that's uncomfortable. But unfortunately, sometimes it's hard for people to do that with them by themselves. You know what I'm saying? So then they end up getting into relationships where this becomes their source of healing. So of course, girl, he cheated on me, I might take him back because I want to walk through life feeling like I'm healed. I want to feel like I'm loved. I want to feel like I'm accepted, like we were talking about today. So you cling to that. And I feel like the idea of friendships, platonic relationships, a lot of people don't see the intimacy in that. We might use our friends to, I want to go out or this, but think about it. If you have that friend that uses you for healing, let's say that friend always calling you venting too much, always got a problem, friend always calling you for money, friend always think they're ugly, you won't cut them off. The thing with romantic relationship is let I guess you want to call it a narcissist find an unhealed person. They gonna be feeding. They ain't gonna cut you off. Oh, I see you don't really love yourself, but you love me twice. Then you love yourself. Okay, I'm staying. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stay so I could do my damage. So I think that really is what plays like the biggest role and why people just really cling on to platonic relationships, and not just romantic relationships over platonic relationships, but not just cling on, but they act like they need it versus their friendships, and they don't put the same emphasis on a friendship. So I hope that advice helps. It's not an answer, but honestly, for you who asked this question, it's really a matter of, if this bothers you so much, making sure you weed out the type of people that are like that early on by not leading with your fat ass. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to weed these people out. If you're a person who authentically likes a friend to value you or show that you are very important in their life, then be that authentic version of yourself and you'll be able to weed them out early. So I hope this episode has helped at least one person today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please, please, please continue to like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube, the Instagram. And if you have any questions that you want to submit, you can find it. You can submit it anonymously at www.askkadi.com. Bye.
That's my girl, Kadi.C, the friend that cares more about your growth than your feelings.